Ollie, it's Hayden here, and you're listening to the Man in the Mirror podcast. You're very welcome along, and if you haven't joined me before, Man in the Mirror is a podcast where each week I talk to a male guest and we discuss grooming, self-care, self-image. We talk about work, life, and I ask the guest about what they really think about the man who looks back at them in the mirror. Now, this week I went over to North London to the headquarters of Heath, and I met co-founder Harry Aaronson. Seems very apt. It's International Podcast Day this week on the 30th of September, so decided to do something special. Now, Heath are a brand that I've long admired and to be honest, I've been using long before I dreamt of doing the podcast or got involved, and I really like their products. I like the democratic nature of what they do. It's not over expensive, but it's really effective, and they're products that you can find on most high streets. So I was really keen to find out more about the brand and about the people behind it. So yeah, it was a real thrill to go to the Heath offices and to meet Harry. Harry is one of the co-founders with his father. He's going to tell me much more about it. Now, I don't know if you know some of the Heath products. I'm sure you've seen them on the shelves in store, but for me, I mean, probably the hero product for me that I use all the time, day and night, is the eye serum, which comes with a sort of metal rollerball. Just a great product. Really kind of wakes up my face, wakes up the eye area in the morning, and I do suffer from some dark circles, and I've noticed over the 2 years that I've been using the eye serum, it's definitely sort of decreased the dark circles and just makes my skin feel a bit more energized. I also use the face wash, as we discuss in the podcast, and it's a great product line and one that's going to expand further for sure. They're available internationally now. There's a real made in England focus, and it's a brand that seems to work really well, which no doubt you'll be aware of, but I think you're really going to enjoy hearing more about the story of the brand and the people behind it. So here we go. It's Harry Aaronson, who is the co-founder of Heath, talking to me, Hayden Williams, on the Man in the Mirror podcast. Let's go. Welcome along to Man in the Mirror. It's Hayden here, and I'm back at the home studio. I'm in northwest London in the Heath office with Harry Aaronson. Hi, Harry.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for hosting me here at Heath. And really cool to see the space and to see some of the products, and obviously to see how far it's come in, 7 or 8 years, is it, since?
Technically, it started on the shelves May 2017.
Right.
I think conceptually in my head, 2 years before that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's great that you sort of go back to the origin story, if you like, because there was something about a squash game, and great to hear how squash interplays into your story.
The good news is my squash is now better than it was before.
Good.
Good. And now actually, luckily, so is my grooming routine. It started, me and my dad, squash was the sport we used to play together.
Right.
He now won't play it because I beat him.
Great, as it should be.
Yeah. And after a game of squash, you go into the locker rooms and I take out the brand I won't give a shout out to, but a very good brand I take out there is actually their shaving cream. And he takes out his shaving cream from a much cheaper, more mass brand.
Yep.
And we're speaking, he's like, why are you spending so much money on this product? It's no difference. My one does the job. I'm like, no, trust me, try this product. You'll see a difference. You're going to enjoy the experience more. The efficacy is better. The result will be better. So he tries it. Comes out, I was like, actually, that's really, really good. And then him being in the industry as well, working in a female brand, he understood the manufacturing process, what could be done, almost fell off the chair when he realized how much money I spent on this said shaving cream. And he said, why don't we started talking? And we're like, there should be a brand that caters in the middle.
Yeah.
Why am I using one brand? My father's using another.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we both be using a brand? Because we had the same desire, we wanted the same thing from the product,
yet
we were using two different products.
But I think what you identified was, now in retrospect seems completely sensible, but actually to find that sort of sweet spot of something that, has good efficacy, is good quality, but is available widely. And I feel like Heath is, slap bang in that space and was probably quite a pioneer there.
Yeah, well, I think with all industries, men's skincare, men's grooming, depending how you define it, is new. So you always had brands. We thought we were very smart because we had, let's now look at the market. You had loads of mass brands on the left-hand side, on axes. the expensive brand, you're no one in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Oh, we've got a gap in the market. This is what we want to do because what we call it is everyday luxury.
Yeah.
We're not cheap. So you're not buying us on price. You're buying it as an educated decision. So it's a luxurious purchase. But it's still, you're not afraid to use it every day.
Yeah.
So it's that everyday luxury was something we wanted to take to the market. But when we realized it wasn't a gap in the market, because at Heath, we've got two jobs. We're educating the customer who buys the mass market. Spend a little bit more, you will see a difference. It's not all a fancy advertising campaign. We are pulling higher quality ingredients at better levels in the formulations. And at the more expensive end, with the other hat, we're also trying to explain to people who have a much higher propensity to spend, you don't need to spend that much to get that benefit, to feel special, to get great customer service. So
you're talking about, therefore, to those guys, you're talking more about the quality of the ingredients and the kind of things that are within Heath, right?
Correct. And actually it's funny because on the mass end, it's more we're educating about the benefits of the formula.
Yeah.
On the premium end, it's actually more they want to feel special about using a brand that makes them it's desirable. Exactly, a lifestyle brand that they're proud to use and they think endorses their lifestyle.
So what were you up to before Heath?
I had a completely different job where I worked for a private equity fund doing asset management in real estate.
One of those guys in the city.
Yeah.
Moorgate
was my local station, so very much in the city.
Yeah. So I guess I'm sure it was a fantastic job anyway, but useful in a way because you must have had lots of friends and knowing that world, knowing the potential for something like this and perhaps seeing this gap and knowing these guys that are going to benefit from it.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. I think, I learned a lot from there. It was number one, obviously, working in a male-dominated environment, seeing people had different grooming routines, different habits, wanted different things from their products as well.
Yeah.
And as well as my Excel costings are very, very good as well. So
you're good with an Excel?
Yeah, I am very good with an Excel. I don't know if the team like it or not, but one of my strengths.
Many tabs.
Yes, many tabs, many different colours as well. Colours is the good trick. Love it.
With Heath, I mean, on the podcast, talked to lots of founders and different brands in the space, all kinds of range. But, did you see, was there a sort of central problem that you felt that you wanted to answer with Heath?
Good question, and it's a hard one.
Sounds a bit like a dragon's
but it's a good question because without a doubt, we had a problem we wanted to address, which I can go into, but it's also with a brand, how we view it is a brand is there to serve a community. So obviously we bring out and we have our own ideas as a brand, but we need to get feedback to, are we actually making things that people want?
Yeah.
So we obviously had the original outset of what we want to do, but it is it's like a living organism. It changes over time.
Yeah.
So as people's demands change, as their tastes change, we also need to solve a different problem probably in 10 years that we're solving now.
And I guess we can get into it later on, but over the period that Heath has been around, I think even in those 7 years, probably attitudes to grooming and skincare from the guys that you used to work with and my friends, it does feel like it's evolving.
Massively changed. And I think what's really interesting, us being an international business, it's at different stages all over the world. So some markets that you wouldn't expect are way more developed and other markets are underdeveloped. So we have to be attuned to the UK, which is obviously our home market. The one where
is the UK the biggest market?
UK is the biggest. Our core focus, we are a made in England brand.
Yeah.
So for that as well, we want to be championing the best of British manufacturing and the best British factories. But again, we are aggressive with what we want to be doing. So without a doubt, we want to use the UK as our kind of the launch pad for overseas success.
Sort of test bed of...
Yeah.
And where are the places that the skincare and male grooming is further developed that surprised you?
So Poland is a very developed market.
Really?
Yep, massively developed. The percentage of men that use skincare in the routine is much higher than the UK. US is very underdeveloped.
Yeah.
So the UK is more advanced than the US.
What do you think it is about somewhere like Poland then?
I wish I knew. I think just different traditions. Maybe. I wouldn't want to make up something.
But you're happy enough that they buy Heath.
Yeah.
So
we just launched in Poland.
Oh, did you?
Nice shout out to Heavy, who is one of their largest grocery channels in Poland.
Big up to Heavy.
Still,
we love you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Look, and we'll come back to talking much more about Heath further on in the discussion. But as you know, with Man in the Mirror, part of it is just to find out about different men's routines. And no doubt, you coming into this space and you mentioned this locker room of the squash court and, having certain products. I'm sure Heath features heavily in your
morning and evening routines.
I am a very big advocate. I think they're great.
But it'd be great just to hear a little bit about your morning and evening routines, you know, products that people might want to take into their routines and the kind of reasons that you look at them.
So I think I'd start with I am a morning person. So my morning routine is much more important to me than evening routine.
So it's a bit more extensive in the morning.
More extensive means more to me. By the evening, I'm tired and there's not much thought that goes into it.
Water, babe.
Yeah. I brush my teeth, shout out there. Good. But my morning routine will start, wake up in the morning. If I wake up before my alarm, I'm already very happy.
What's kind of alarm time?
Alarm time is 6. Normally I'll be up before then.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
You are an
early riser.
Was that from city days?
No, to be honest, it's really the last few years.
Really?
I enjoy the mornings more, so I'm making a focus to try and be more present in the mornings and the evenings.
Then you go home at 3 o'clock and go to bed.
I wish. One a day. And ice cold shower in the morning.
Do you?
Yep. Very Wim Hof style.
Like no hot in it?
No, I would eventually. So I start off with warm.
Okay.
And then I mentally prepare myself to get my shower to go as cold as possible. And then I try and do about 2 minutes in there. However,
I could do this.
I don't time it, so I don't know mentally if I'm doing 5 seconds, 3 minutes. But I tell myself I'm doing 2 minutes. And I try and up it every few weeks, every month. After my ice cold shower.
What do you feel? Because you get lots of people doing Wim Hof and all this.
Yes.
What for you? What are these benefits of getting
good super cold? And so, number one, you don't think of much apart from breathe when you're in the shower.
Yeah.
So you're just breathing. So actually, by not focusing on anything, it's quite relaxing.
Yeah.
And as well, there's meant to be long-term benefits. I don't know if I've seen them yet in terms of what it does for you, but as well, it's a very nice accomplishment of getting out the shower. Like, yes, I've done that.
Yeah.
So in that sense as well, it's one of those kind of tick boxes in the morning. You're starting your day doing something that you may not have wanted to do.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that kind of building that resistance psychologically for me has benefits.
And the cost of living crisis, you know, you're not using hot water.
Exactly. So another silver lining. and then after that, my first product I'll use is shout out to Heath face wash.
Yes.
So 2-in-1.
The charcoal.
Yeah. The formula looks black because we've got activated charcoal and black lava. The black lava is effectively there to replace microbeads. So it gets rid of the dead skin, which again, living in the city, you accumulate a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And then as well, after that, I will be using one of my hair and body brushes. I do have a favorite. I know they say as a parent, you should love all your kids.
Them all equally.
But I don't. Relax is
Who's
my
your favorite child?
Relax is my favorite.
Okay.
And the other two. The oldest one, Revitalize, probably needs to shake up. And then Rescue is the middle child to talk about the middle child problems. And then, so I do my face wash in the morning and obviously the hand body wash with my shower gel and shampoo 2-in-1. And that, to be honest, in the morning is as much as I do on a Monday to Friday. Nothing more complicated than that. Outside the shower. So by the way, I do that in the shower.
Yeah.
So we
mentioned that face wash there, Harry.
Yeah.
I think it's a great product. It's also in my morning routine at the moment, and I think
I did think your skin looked good.
Bless you. Thank you. That's very kind. As is yours. You're about 20 years younger than me. No, it's a really good product, and I think that I want that sort of gentle exfoliation, but certainly don't want to be thinking about putting stuff that shouldn't be in the sea into the sea. So, but and also I think with the charcoal, it doesn't. It feels like it absorbs quickly, but it isn't. Sometimes when you use those darker products and it's still all over your hands and you've still got it all over your face, I think it washes out really nicely and smells good. Yeah, and I think it's a really great product.
But that was actually the challenge that we designed it to be used in the shower, because what we want to do is, again, like we touched on earlier, like who is Heath for? And it's for someone who's got a busy life. So we're saying that we want to make products like easy to use in your routine. So it's not just the ingredients and the formula, it's how you're using it. Cool. So we thought if we can do a exfoliate and a cleanser in the shower, amazing.
Because it's logical, isn't it? Because actually, it's sort of much easier under the nozzle to get all that stuff off, I reckon. Yeah.
With our one, yes. Others, I'm not sure how easy it is. I haven't used another face wash for quite a while.
Sorry, we got onto that. We're out the shower. You've done the shower gel, the shampoos, the face wash.
That is when I brush my teeth. Very important for me. Try to do 2 minutes in the morning, but sometimes I get distracted. My lovely favourite Black Marvis toothpaste.
Yeah. They're good, aren't they? The Marvis ones. I've got one of the, I don't know what, one of the green one anyway, but it's good.
And then what I will do is we recently launched a serum. So depending on the time of year, if we're in winter, when your skin needs more help, I put our Protect serum.
Yeah.
Again, I put it out there. In the summer, I won't do that because I don't need it.
Yeah.
I just do straight to our oil control moisturizer because my skin is slightly oily.
Me too.
And then I'm trying different hair products at the moment.
What are you into in terms of hair?
I'm on the search, which I've been for a long time, for the perfect hair styling product.
Yeah.
So I always go through many. I've got some better and some worse. I still haven't found the perfect one.
And what are you trying to do with it?
I want it.
I'm not. It's not.
I have slightly long hair, so I want it to be slicked back.
Yeah.
A little bit wavy and stay there the whole day. Because what I find is I got my sweet spot where my hair looks good at 11 in the morning. If I've been running around by 5 p.m., I look like a crazy professor without the lab coat. So I want something that lasts the day.
I know what you mean that, and I'm overdue a haircut, and I think it's the same. I feel like if I leave the house, it's fine.
Yeah.
But by now, it's just getting a bit bigger and more like Lionel Blair.
It's like the twilight hour.
Yeah.
You have a short period where the hair looks good, and I'm trying to work out which brand has mastered that.
And where are you at the moment?
Where am I at the moment? I am using Hands de Foucault.
Okay.
So I'm going through all of their different styles. So I've got about 12 products at a nice little sampling set. So I'm going through there. But yeah, I've been doing this for 6-7 years, trying a hair styling product.
Yeah.
And it's not just on price. So I found sometimes the cheaper ones do better. The expensive ones could be packaging. But for me, fragrance isn't important. It's purely how long can I get the right hold?
And are you a fragrance fan? Do you have fragrance into your...
Funnily enough, I used to use it on special occasions.
Yeah.
And because it was for quote unquote special occasions, it wasn't in my routine.
Right.
So I did it very infrequently. And recently I'm using a beautiful fragrance from Frederic Malle.
Oh, which one?
Musk.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So I love that. And I'm now using that about 5 days a week. So making more days special, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Frederic Malle is proper good product.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a real pioneer in that idea of showcasing the perfumer themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a fantastic range. So it's interesting. So you don't feel like it's something that needs to be there every day. Like it's absolutely, people have different views on this, but for you, it's more of a kind of special.
For me, it's more of for me, more special occasion, maybe partly to do with the cost. As well.
Because those Frederic Malles are not cheap.
No, they're not cheap. At least I get them in the airport.
Yes.
Shout out duty free. I'm coming for you one day. And it was more, I think, just psychologically from going to an all-boys school, you used to remember the guys who put way too much, whatever, links or perfume, whatever the smells was. I was like, that's not the type of person I want to be.
Yeah.
So now, I think I smell like my deodorant.
Yeah, but it seems like it's always a phase that boys go through, isn't it? And I said again a few times, I always feel like I'm slagging off my son on the podcast, but he's 15 now, and he's definitely now sort of coming out the other end of Lynx world, just too many cans of that and strange, different, I
bought the Lynx Marmite recently in the local newsagent.
What?
Yeah, Africa meets Marmite.
Are you serious?
Yeah, upstairs.
So there's Africa fragrance and Marmite in there.
Yeah.
I can't get my head around it.
No, don't tell your son. I don't think you'll be enjoying the smell lingering around the house.
Is it hideous? Is it hideous as it sounds?
Yes. Unless you love Lynx Africa and you love Marmites, and that combination is an even more acquired taste.
I mean, I think I need to buy one just to serve.
I'll give you a smell upstairs after.
Thanks very much. My son had cookies and leather, which is the most two weird things that you don't want to find together. But
they've got there's like the new vapes. You've got all these magical things coming out, and then up there development with Lynx.
Oh my goodness! Well, when you talked about hair care, do you think ultimately is that something that you want to get into with Heath, into that space?
Funnily enough, hair care is something we've been working on for about 2.5-3 years, and it's definitely something we want to get into we are a skincare brand, first and foremost, but actually we play in the wider wellness sector. So who knows where our business will change in terms of our categories. But we've looked at hair care as something that's very important. So you've got obviously people are spending lots of time and effort looking after their face, but actually men are incredibly concerned with hair loss, quality of hair growth, colour of hair. It's a whole very big area that is being served quite well by some brands, but we think we can be adding value to the category.
I think it sounds like it makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned wellness there, and I guess the terms get bandied around quite a lot, and and perhaps it was more prevalent in some female products previously, but now, of course, it's in the lexicon for all of us. How do you see wellness and Heath and products? Where do you see yourself fitting in there?
Again, I think it's like a living organism, so it does change over time. But obviously, in Heath, as its current kind of form, we are predominantly a skincare brand.
Yeah.
So you're putting on products to make yourself, and we say it's not about just looking good, it's about feeling good. There's something definitely, as people have become more aware of their kind of emotions and mental health, there's something very special about taking that time out, whether it's a morning routine or whether it's an evening routine. But I know I've got I have 15, 20 seconds, I put my moisturizer on in the morning. Again, I'm in the mirror, I'm calm. It's almost kind of therapeutic / meditative. Yeah. So we see that as part of the wellness, because again, you're doing something that's better for yourself. It's not just vanity. Yeah. So in that sense, that's where we are very much aware of what's going on in the wellness space.
Yeah. No, and I think you're right. And I think there's a lot to be said for routines, fostering wellness, and that thing of making yourself know that you've taken that time for yourself and taken those steps projects a feeling of confidence and wellness and all this. And can be incredibly important.
I think you said it well there. It's about taking time out for yourself. And it doesn't matter if it's 5 seconds or 5 hours, there is that benefit of kind of taking a step back and doing something purely for yourself.
And we should talk about the evening. So you said the morning's a little bit more extensive.
Yeah.
What would you do before you go to bed?
So the evening, again, depends on the time of year, not to get too fancy, but we have recently launched a repair serum, which is our nighttime anti-aging serum. We were developing that for quite a while, so I've been using that in my routine while we've been changing the actives for about 2 years. So again, I find that very nice. We've got a beautiful lavender essential oil in there. And so
helps sleep and everything.
Helps sleep, and then I will brush my teeth again.
Perfect. I wonder, we talk about when you got into the business, did it feel like a big step to jump in and move away from the career that you had? I mean, obviously your dad was in this world already. I'm sure that was a help, but did it feel like a big leap to say, let's do this, let's start this?
It definitely was a very big leap. But because I think I was so excited by the opportunity and also kind of being able to, in the reason of control my own destiny, the excitement kind of, I just went straight into it and have never really looked back. And obviously it started, although we are still a small business, we were a tiny business. So it started just me walking around with a metal tin product and going to barbers because again...
Did you? So they were the first customers?
Because we looked at it and we go, well, where do all men go into their barbers? And I had the sales pitch to a barber of, if you've got a man in your chair for half an hour, you've got blade to their neck, you should be able to get them to buy a £15 moisturizer. So it started with my days were just really out on the road as a sales.
Do you remember the first place that took an order?
First place that took an order actually was, we still work with a guy today, was a store called Odell's Studios. It was called Odell's in Soho.
Right. And so a barbershop?
No, that was actually a lifestyle store. The barber store, we were early on in a few in Manchester, and a few in Birmingham. London was harder to crack.
Yeah.
And I've still got the metal tin today that I go around with. So it's been a slow, depending on the perspective, slow or quick progression to kind of what I now do and what we do as a business on our day-to-day.
I love hearing these stories of how businesses evolve and develop, and it does feel like, 7 years isn't that long ago. I remember what I was doing 7 years ago, and it's amazing to think where it's got to and the kind of places you're in now. And talk to me a bit about the look and feel of Heath, because it always strikes me as, you talked about where you sit in the sector, and there's kind of this sweet spot in the middle, and not to denigrate some of the supermarket or high street products, because obviously Heath is present in places like Boots, and that's amazing. But sometimes some of the look and feel and design can feel a bit sort of garish and like it's shouting at you and all this that. And then I suppose you can go ultra high end. But ultimately, I still think it's important what things look like, because they're going to be on your bathroom shelf, on in your counter, whatever it is. So what were you trying to do with Heath? And it's got this great kind of racing green signature colour. What was your thinking there?
And actually, you touched on something that was important to us when we were designing the products. Again, as I said, we are everyday luxury.
Yeah,
we wanted something that someone was proud to have outside, not just behind the cabinet mirror that they're embarrassed to use, but something you're proud to show off. So we always knew that if we wanted to kind of get the penetration and the adoption of our products, aesthetic was highly important.
Yeah.
And really we just did mood boards. So we kind of went and go, who's the type of customer we want to attract? What are the elements we like? So we liked the artisanal kind of movement. And you've got when we launched Heath, they had all the kind of small batch gym brands were coming along. Okay. So we looked at the gym brands. And so we saw, they were beautiful wrapped labels around the product. And that's why you have on the Heath products a wrapped around band. Where does the green come from? Very egotistically, my favorite color is green. So I wanted to have a green product.
That's good, a reason as any.
And then the racing green was inspired by the old vintage ETAP Jag color. So we looked at the band tone, wanted to make it, where green also is very nice. It's kind of, it's modern yet traditional. It doesn't really go out of date, but it's not a boring or black sort of color. But it's not one of those garish colors or non-color.
Yeah.
So it's something that we think will hopefully stand the test of time. And then, so that was the green, that was the cream wrapped label.
Yeah.
And the cream, as I said, was the gym. And then we did something very subtle of women are still very large purchasers of male products because for the men in their life, whether it's a son, husband, boyfriend, just a friend.
Yeah.
And so we wanted something that was stylish and men would like to have on their shelf, but also women would want to buy for their men in their life. So we put a very cheeky copper under and overline on the HE, and it's Heath for he. So that as well was kind of the small touch of design element we added on. And that's really been it. That's what inspired us.
Well, I think it seems to really hit the spot, and it got that sort of classy look to it. But I could see it. We're in one of the Heath offices, so we've got the full range there. It's funny when you talk about colours, and we all know intrinsically how important it is. But actually, when you go into some shops and you're looking at the range and men's products, there's quite a lot of uniformity around oranges or kind of quite garish blues and things. So it's really nice to have this sort of much more tranquil, calming kind of racing green. I think it works really well.
I think that's also where my mum has got a fantastic eye, and something she made us always do was every time when we had lots of iterations of what the product would look like, she would say, put it on the shelf against your competitors.
Yeah.
Because there's one thing I think if you're trying to design a brand of thinking, unless you're setting up your own store, you will realize you are going into a crowded marketplace. So you need to make sure it stands out.
Yeah. And you can't be sort of too arrogant to think that, the consumer has a choice. Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't exist in a vacuum, I suppose. Yeah. And I just think it's really interesting, thinking about the branding and where it sits. Because, we talked about the fact that it's in places like Boots. I mean, it must be sort of important to you to be something that men can find quite easily on the high street, right? Because obviously there's beautiful brands and things that are super expensive, but not everyone's got the ability to pop into a city centre department store or somewhere fancy. So I guess it must have been a real proud moment when you could get into somewhere that everyone can find and it's quite democratic.
Well, there's a fantastic stat, and I will get it wrong, but hopefully I get the essence of it. It's like 90% of the population in the UK are with like a 10-minute drive of a Boots store.
Really? Yeah.
Well, they've got so many.
I will be surprised.
So it's kind of, for us, it was, at the start, we were actually always nervous about opening up to kind of the larger retailers. Because it's like, again, a brand can be like a child. You want to nurture it, look after it. Maybe it's getting the right TLC. And then we got to the stage where we realized that actually, what is the point of having this brand if you're not making it as accessible as possible? We are here to serve customers, therefore we want to put it in front of the customers. And then with the support of these big retailers, obviously you're getting more sales and you can reinvest that back into the brand to still make sure it's keeping that kind of, that special element. So you don't need to, if you're opening up your kind of the accessibility, you just have to be smart about how you still keep the desirability at the same time.
And do you have a certain... maybe it was right back to the beginning, but do you have a certain man in mind? Is there a sort of Heath man?
Ideally, to be honest,
is it you?
If I do, but I do use it, so I'm doing. I always know. It's really as many men as possible. Obviously, we speak to a core customer, someone who lives in the city, has a healthy lifestyle, is a conscious the right word, but makes conscious decisions or educated decisions. They'll go to the shelf and they'll spend time looking at what they're buying.
Yes,
again, we're not the cheapest, informed purchaser. Yeah, and exactly the informed purchaser, someone where ethos is important. So we do have a core customer, but really every time we hear someone using the product as a brand, we're happy. We don't really...
Come one, come all.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
And you mentioned that we touched on hair care, and that might be in the sort of route map somewhere. Are there other things this year in the pipeline for the brand?
Yes, coming. No, thanks for asking. So this year we're very excited. For the first time ever, we're going into Christmas gifting in a big way. So we're doing 4 bespoke sets, again, launching in Boots.
Great.
Thank you, Boots.
Thank you.
And so that would be this year. And then next year, all goes well, we'll be doing hair care.
Great.
And then we've got other categories we'll be going after as well within men's grooming. And then in terms of the future, it's kind of, we only play a certain role at the moment of what you're putting onto your face and what goes inside your body. So that, if we do continue to expand product categories, would be the third stage.
Yeah, very exciting. And I suppose, once you have men who trust you and like the products, and then hopefully they're prepared to come with you and try Heath out in other areas, I suppose.
Yeah, correct. I think as well, what we've learned is, when we're working on hair care, we say we are now experts in skincare. And it's not us as a brand, although we have improved our expertise, but we're very lucky where we work with phenomenal labs, phenomenal chemists. So we've kind of, over 7 years, worked out which kind of people align to our view, and just with them, they've got kind of hundreds of years of experience. So that's where kind of we've got these contacts, we're getting this knowledge, and we now want to kind of put it in front of customers at a kind of, we call it a thoughtful price.
Yeah, makes sense. So, Harry, the name of the podcast is Man in the Mirror, and I always like to ask what you think when you look in the mirror. And I suppose it's, you can take it however you like, whether it's about actually the kind of appearance that looks back at you, or how you think about self-image, or where you're at in your life day. So you're in your early 30, just turned 30. So how do you, when you sort of, you've got up and you've had your shower and you're looking in the mirror, what do you think?
If I take a second out to stop, if I'm looking in the mirror, it's more, I'd say I'm looking at it from the emotional angle.
Okay.
And I would say, if I look in the mirror, I am excited and scared at the same time. Excited by the opportunity, but also scared that you never know what the future's going to hold.
I think there's probably a healthy balance in there, isn't there? Of to be kind of excited about what's to come, but to proceed with caution.
Exactly. I think in the opportunity of anyone, kind of obviously the current world we live in, you've got so much opportunity, and kind of so making sure. I said the scared nature of are you making the best out of your current situation? So the excitement, but also on that flip side, you've got the responsibility too.
Yeah. And you mentioned a few times about seeing the brand. I think it was really interesting. I think seeing it as a living, dynamic organism. So I guess that plays into that as well. You kind of don't know how it's evolving and what's the future's going to bring, and I hope it's all good. But I guess you have to be alive to challenges that are going to come along for the brand and other people and what's happening in the space that you're in.
I think there you said it spot on.
And finally, Harry, what makes you happy?
Makes me happy. Apart from people using Heath?
Yes, apart from that. That's the kind of table stake given, I reckon.
On a Friday afternoon, about to celebrate New Year, I would say family.
Yeah. Well, that's nice, because it's obviously a family business, and everyone's here working as well, so that's lovely.
It's a family.
And do you get together outside of, I guess obviously you do, but you're quite close-knit in terms of getting together at the weekends out of the workspace as well?
Yeah, exactly. Very important. That's one thing I learned when I came into working with my father. I was much more talk about business the whole time. He's like, I need a break. So now we know that when we do talk about it, it's also important to have the breaks where we still have that father-son relationship. We're not just business partners.
Yeah. So do you have to be quite sort of disciplined about that? Is it as a sort of organised as, okay, look, we don't talk about it once we've left the office, or do we talk about it a bit and then your dad says, oh, that's enough? Or how's it go?
Pretty much, we talk about it until he tells me that's enough. Depending on my mood, I listen the first time, because please stop by the second time. We're back talking about how I used to be in the squash.
Harry, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for hosting me here at the Heath offices. Yeah, really great to hear how well it's doing, and as it expands further, and we'll be looking out for more products this Christmas. But thanks for your time.
No, thank you very much.
All right, you take care.
Thanks to Harry and the team over at Heath for hosting me recently, where we recorded the podcast. Really enjoyed chatting to him, such an interesting guy. And I think that idea of seeing our daily routines of skincare and those bathroom routines, seeing them as a sort of wellness moment, I really identify with that. And I think, putting those routines into your morning and evening is, helps set up or end the day in the right way and can be really a positive thing for mental health and wellness. So it was really interesting to hear more about that from Harry, and obviously to hear how well the brand is doing and expanding into so many other countries, and talking about expanding the range further as well. But I think, whenever you see that Heath product line in store, it just does look like a kind of the classy kind of racing green. But I think as he identified, finding that real sweet spot of, it's not sort of super value, doesn't look too cheap. It's going to look great on your bathroom shelf, but is not sort of luxury prices. It's just Goldilocks thing, just right, just in the middle. So great to hear more about that. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation as I did. Now, if you want to find out more about Heath, you can find them online at www.heathlondon.co.uk. That's heathlondon.co.uk. And on Instagram, they're at heath.skincare. That's heath.skincare, where you'll find loads of interesting content and all the product line, obviously, on their website and across retail, certainly here in the UK and many territories now around the world. So my thanks to Harry. Thanks to you, as ever, for listening. I really appreciate it. If you want to find out more about Man in the Mirror, you can do. It's at Man in the Mirror Pod on Instagram, and that's where you'll be able to search up previous guests. You can see who else has been on there. There's a link tree, and you can find all the other guests equally on your podcast platform of choice. If you search back, there's another 4 seasons there. So lots of interesting guests across all sorts of people, across perfumery and brand founders, all sorts of people. And even Richard E. Grant was there a few months back. So I'd love you to listen to a few more. And if you want to review and leave some stars, that would be appreciated too. So thanks for listening. Thank you to Harry, as I said. And I'll see you next time on Man in the Mirror. Take care.